Hi and welcome to this video and welcome to the Roman Bridge, although I'll give you an update on its actual status very shortly. But this is one of the most atmospheric and scenic bridges here in North Wales, absolutely stunning. I'm asking myself, why have I never been here before? The colours of the trees and the moss and the river and the water flow, absolutely phenomenal. We do have a rope swing from that tree, and I'll let you know if I take that out in the edits. I will also, at the end, I'll be including some of the images in a gallery. I'm going to scope out the area now and start with the composition walkthroughs for you guys and the why I'm taking those images and the details related to the technical aspects as well. So this is the first composition that I found. You'll have to excuse the angle of filming here. I've had to put the tripod into the water. So as you can see, the tripod is in the stream. I'm not going to go any further than that. It deepens out really quickly and it's in flood at the moment. So I'm not really going to go any deeper than that. But what I'm looking at here is bordering the actual bridge with the tree, the moss-lined tree on the left, and squaring it off at the bottom with the moss-lined rocks. There is a rope hanging from the branch on the right. I will actually probably edit that out in Lightroom if it does impact on the images. I think that's a real distraction. So the first image is as I've described it. I'm going to do a quick one initially at 1/8 of a second at f5.6. I've got it set to ISO 100, 2-second timer, let everything settle, especially in the stream. That is it's a lovely framing. I've been able to manage to keep the rope out of that image, which is absolutely excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, just so I'm going to zoom into about 115, 110. So I've got the tree on the left-hand side covered in moss, framing it to the left. I've got the rocks at the bottom framing it to the bottom, but I've got the water smoothing out and cascading down out of the image to the bottom right, with the arch of the bridge and the ivy flowing down. Look at that. I think 4 seconds should be a really nice time for this image. Get the flow of the water as the water comes through the cascades. Have a look at that. Oh, that is excellent. I really like that. There's just a single tree in the distance that's still got autumn colours. So that is absolutely brilliant. And the 4 seconds really gives the flow and brings the flow of the water through the cascades under the bridge. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you have to use half a second for flowing water, such as waterfalls or rivers. Actually, every single one that you'll want to capture is different. This one requires, because of the flow of the water, this one, when not zoomed in, requires a longer exposure time, and hence my 4 seconds. So for the next image, I've recomposed the image. I've moved slightly further forward, only about 5 meters, but what I want to do is not use the tree as a frame now. What I want to do is use the rocks and the bridge in isolation. So I want the bridge and I want the rocks at the bottom of the frame in the composition. So one of the things that's important in this kind of conditions, lens hoods are great on sunny days, but actually they're brilliant on days like this to keep the rain and any water dropping off the trees off the front element of the lens. Absolutely vital in these kind of conditions. So here we go. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to just compose the image. I've got the bridge arched nicely. I've got the rocks in the foreground. I've got the river leading out on the right hand side. Just make sure everything's nice and tight. The tripod again is in the water. That is a lovely composition. Here we go. We've got 1.6 seconds at f22. So let's see what impact this has. I'm focusing on the water. Remember, when photographing rivers, waterfalls, turn image stabilization off. The image stabilization, oh, that is a beautiful image. The image stabilization will try to track the flow of the water and it'll make everything else around it artifacted or blurry. So make sure that you have image stabilization off so that your camera is not trying to track the actual flow of the water at the same time. I've moved forward now in my composition, which actually goes to prove I've only really moved the first time about 5 meters, the second time probably about 3 meters. You don't need to move a long way to really change the composition and the style of the imagery. So what I've done here, I'm going to use the tree to my advantage. I'm going to use the tree as the right hand, but I'm going to blur that. I want that to be a foreground blur. And it's easy when on locations like this just to take the classic picture. You know, we've all seen potentially, well, you may or may not have seen pictures of this online. They're all pretty much the same. They're all the bridge with the water flowing under it at different levels and the rocks. But let's think about how we can frame our images slightly differently. I'm actually thinking this one could be a 8x10 or something along those lines, maybe a 4x7, not a 3x2. May even end up being a 1x1. So let's capture this image. I really like this. I'm focusing on the waterfall again. It's 8 seconds at f8. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm taking a shot for 8 seconds, it seems like a heck of a long time. So this seems to be taking forever. Okay, we've got that image. Oh, I really like that. I think a little bit of a crop on that, absolutely brilliant, because we've got some of the autumn colours remaining. I've changed location again. I'm a lot closer to the bridge now. I've got my lens on the 18mm lens. This is still the 18 to 135. I've got these rocks in the foreground that have got leaves, but they've got some miniature leading lines that could be useful. We've got the bridge, a little bit of sky, so I need to just deal with that. Ivy hanging from the bridge. We've got the river flowing through and under from the top third, through and out in the bottom right-hand third. And again, we've got 8 seconds at f8. I tell you, this is perfect for these conditions. Absolutely perfect. So let's capture this image. I've set the tripod a little bit lower now so that we can capture this. Absolutely lovely. I love the flow of the water. It's picking up the flow as the water eddies and the bubbles flow down the stream. And when on location, it's really critical to observe the details, not just the big landscape. So what I really love is the way that the water pours into that V at the front cascade, coming down from the distance, breaking through, the green on the rocks, absolutely beautiful. We don't need the whole waterfall for this. We just need to really focus in. So I've zoomed in on that. Got 13 seconds at f11, which is an absolute great time for that. I'm going to capture that image. Whilst that's capturing, please also remember to check out my other video from a similar, I'll put the link in the description below, from the Fairy Glen, which is just down the road from this location as well. Absolutely amazing. So, right, let's have a look at that. Oh, I love that. The water coming in from the top third, falling through the cascades. Let's capture that on a much slower shutter speed, just to show you what it's like. I'm going to bring it right down to half a second. Well, it's 1/6 of a second. Let's bring that aperture. Okay, I'm going to have to take the ND filter off of this. And this is what I mean about why you shouldn't always use half a second. Right, let me just get that going, right? And this image is at 1/6 of a second at f16. And this will allow you to compare the difference. This image shows you why you don't always use half a second or times like that for waterfalls. The water's very fast moving, yeah, but actually you need to smooth it out today because it's quite choppy in that waterfall. Me personally, I prefer the long exposure. Please feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. The gallery is coming up in just 1 second, but before we get there, I just really want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I know time is valuable, absolutely massively appreciated. I hope that you got some inspiration and maybe some tips from this video. Please remember to like and subscribe and support the channel. Your support is massively appreciated. And without further ado, please enjoy the gallery.